Hello everyone, this is Aaron Johnson with the Johnson iRacing team bringing you our weekly update. This will be update number 5 for week 5 of season 4 of the 2020 iRacing season. As we've done in the past, we'll give you a brief update in terms of the number of races we've won, how we're doing. We'll summarize changes in our iRating and then let you see where we are in the overall division and world standings for our particular series. We're going to start off as we always do with Jake Johnson. Jake had a decent week. He was the only member of the Johnson iRacing team to win a race this week. Jake ran 9 races. He had 1 win, 2 top 5s, and 4 poles. It was a rough week in terms of finishing races, as Jake had all kinds of trouble with crashes, often with lapped cars at Southern Motorsports Park. Southern Motorsports Park is a lot like Lebanon I-44 Speedway. If you're a fan of ours from back in the day, I-44 was high banked, and we always used to say that anybody could be fast at I-44 Speedway. And that's certainly how Southern Motorsports Park is. What that means is a lot of time lap cars race you really hard when you're coming up on them, and they don't give you the room that they might on a more difficult track, and you end up having a contact and having an issue with the race. Anyway, Jake had, like I said, nine races, 1 win, 2 top 5s. It was a pretty good week for him. His iRating took a hit simply because of the number of times that he crashed out of a race. His iRating dropped down to 1,088. That's a little bit below where we generally start with iRating, but a couple of good weeks will pull that right back up. In our particular series, Jake is running in the Fanatec Street Stock Series. He's not running super seriously, but he is trying to run enough races that he can do a reasonable job of chasing points in the Street Stock Series. This week, he's moved up to 566th position out of about 10,900 drivers. That's going to put him somewhere in the top 4% of drivers that have run at least 1 points paying race in the Fanatec Street Stock Series. So Jake's doing very well. In the Fanatec Series, he's got 13 starts, 1 win, 3 top 5s, and a couple of poles. Average start and finish is down around 12th, but that's an artifact, I think, of some of the racing that we're seeing here on the big track at Charlotte, where all the cars are in a big pack and one wobble takes out 8 or 9 people. And I think that's happened to Jake maybe a disproportionate number of times. If we go on to the Legends Car Series, this is where Jake seems to be doing the best at this point in time. Jake in his division, he's in Division 4. And right now he is 41st out of about 794, which puts him just inside the top 2.5% in his division. He's doing very well. He's got 20 starts, 5 wins, 7 top 5s, 5 poles. I think if Jake were to work on something here to have for a goal, it would be to get that top 5 percentage up. 35% is not bad, but 45% is better. Still, he's doing all right. He fell out of the top 25 this week. That's partly because he had a difficult week. It's partly because he's counting 1 fewer races than everyone else in his division. If we go to the overall in the series, Jake is 255th out of about 8,800 drivers. That also puts him somewhere in the top 3.5 to 4%. Jake, again, is a week behind, but he's doing really well. He moved just outside the top 250 this time. Our goals kind of try to keep all 3 of our drivers inside the top 200. That's a laudable goal. And if Jake had been able to run all 5 weeks, I think he'd be right there with us. The second member of the Johnson iRacing team, my brother Joe Johnson. Joe's been racing now for about 2 months. He started racing on the 16th of October, or 16th of August. It's now the 19th of October, so that's about 2 months for Joe. He raised his iRating just a little bit this week. You can see here his iRating came up to about 1,784, and that's representing a significant increase in terms of his iRating. If we look at his statistics for the week, he also had a little bit of a difficult week. He started 9 races, finished in the top 5 3 times, had 1 pole, and I think that's also an artifact of the type of races that we had this week. We had races at tracks where accidents were fairly common. Southern Motorsports Park was a new track, so we had a lot of people that had never turned a lap on it, and I think that had something to do with it. If we look at where Joe is in our series, right now he's 1,543rd out of about 10,900 in the Street Stock Series. That puts him in the top 20% or so. Joe not taking the Street Stocks terribly seriously right now, trying to get some windshield time, but his focus hasn't been on the Street Stocks. Joe has been focused on the Legends cars. In the Legends cars, he's in Division 5, where he is currently third overall in the division out of 694 drivers. That puts him inside the top 0.5% in Division 5. He's got 27 starts, only 2 wins, but 14 top 5. So his top 5 percentage is over 50% to go along with 3 poles. If we look at Joe's overall rating in the Legends Series, he stands 79th out of about 8,800 cars, putting him just inside the top 1% of all drivers who have attempted a race in the Fanatec in the iRacing Advanced Legend Car Series. So Joe's been doing really well there. He continues to move up in the Legends Car Series. Team member number 3, that's Aaron Johnson, that's me. I raised my iRating this week to just up over 2,000. It's the highest it's been in almost 2 months after having some really difficult internet issues. But I've been able to move my iRating up to just over 2,000. This week, however, was a difficult week. I started 9 races. I had no wins. Started 13 races, had no wins. I only had 2 top 5s and had no poles. It was a challenging week. Partly it was challenging for some of the mistakes that I made myself. Sometimes it was challenging because of mistakes other drivers made. And at Charlotte, I ran 4 races and I got crashed in every race. There was not a single race that I ran where I didn't get crashed through no fault of my own. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. If we look at where I am in terms of the overall series stats, I am right now 39th out of about 11,000 drivers in the Fanatec Street Stock Series. Pardon me, that puts me inside the top 0.4% of all drivers in the Street Stock Series. So I feel like I'm doing pretty well there. 20 starts, 1 win, 5 top 5s, and 1 pole. Top 5 percentage not very good in the Street Stocks, but I'm still doing all right. If we take a look at the Legends Car Series, I'm in Division 9, where I lead Division 9 now by about 150 points over Cooper Robinson. Keep in mind, though, that in the iRacing Legends Series, you drop your 3 worst weeks. So once we start to drop our bad weeks, the point differential there should shrink. If we look at the overall standings, I am 64th out of about 8,800 drivers. That puts me in the top 0.75% in the Legends Car Series. I've got 36 starts, 12 wins, 20 top 5s, and 11 poles. My top 5 percentage is about 62.5%, which is a good top 5 percentage if I can keep that up. My challenge is going to be now that having moved into the top split with the best iRacers in the world, top 5s are going to be harder and harder to come by. But that's okay. That's the challenge that we want if we're going to compete for the top spot in some of these series. We're going to be competing against the best drivers, and that's the only way you get better. As I have said in the past, I'll say one more time, if you're watching our videos and you think that you might want to be a part of the Johnson iRacing team, look me up on iRacing. My handle is Aaron Johnson 14. Send me a direct message and inquire about joining the Johnson iRacing team. We'll talk to you a little bit about what our expectations are. We do have specific expectations for team members, and they don't involve winning. They involve what I think of as racing the right way, sort of a gentleman's agreement on how we do things. That's our weekly update. I hope you've enjoyed it. Give us a like and a share. For the Johnson iRacing team on the Johnson iRacing Network, this is Aaron Johnson saying, go fast, turn left, have fun.